This is the Reviewing Network Live, a weekly stream of consciousness recording session where I sit back with you folks out there, talk about some of the big news stories from the past week, and some other things I found that might be of amusement to you out there. I think you might get a kick out of it. Now, these are more like audio podcasts and are much longer than my usual videos and are also for the most part unedited and will contain some foul language. So, if you're easily offended by that, I advise you to maybe step back a bit, maybe go somewhere else. But hey, if you're up to the challenge, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Thanks. And for the 80th time ever, we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Reviewing Network Live for the weekend of March 14th, 2025. March 16th is the date today. And, it's another one of those weeks where we had a couple of stories that could be worth talking about, but not a busy news week in particular. But honestly, the biggest thing that happened this weekend is the box office, and even then, that's not something to be really happy about. The news is not good for the box office right now, but I'm going to explain what I think is going on here, and I think it's pretty obvious once you get to see, once we get done with this, I'll kind of explain it, and I think you can kind of get a good idea if you've been paying attention to some of the movies that have been coming out as of late, or the lack of attention, to just give you kind of an idea, but let's just go ahead and jump on into the weekend box office. And we do have 3 new releases in the top 5 this weekend, but none of them really made a big impact in terms of the grosses overall. But they're worth talking about. Certainly, especially the number 5 film, which I'm really happy to see this is up there, considering the fact that this film did not really get its promotional game going until very late in the game. But starting off at number 5 this week, my early candidate for the best movie of the year so far, The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. A Looney Tunes movie came out this weekend, and I bet a good chunk of my viewers have no idea it even came out because you didn't know you didn't see any advertising on television until very late in the game, and even on social media, you didn't see a whole lot of advertising. They just started the push literally on Thursday. I started seeing promos on TV. When I woke up this morning, ESPN actually had a commercial for the movie on there. Like, they waited until the last minute to promote this movie. Warner Brothers, for some stupid reason, does not want the Looney Tunes to be anywhere in existence whatsoever, and it's baffling to me, especially when you consider that this movie that I'm about to talk about here, The Day the Earth Blew Up, was pretty friggin' amazing. It not only was friggin' amazing, like I said, it's the first great movie of the year so far. It's a terrific film. I went to see it yesterday. I had to go out to see it because they didn't open this in a ton of theaters. I had to go all the way out to another theater away from my usual theater that I usually go to, but it was more than worth it, and I hope this film continues to gain traction. I mean, for a film that wasn't marketed very well overall, it didn't do bad business per se. I mean, it brought in $3.2 million, $3,170,000 in 2,800 theaters, which doesn't sound that good, but considering that there was literally not that much marketing until the very last minute, I mean, that should tell you something right there. And the good news is, this is not a high-budgeted film. It only cost them $15 million. Remember, this was supposed to be a film that was supposed to go straight to the HBO Max server and then Cartoon Network before David Zaslav and his grubby little hands got a hold of them. And lo and behold, here we are now, waiting to see how this film's going to turn out. It's already brought in $5.2 million worldwide, if you include the worldwide numbers. So, it's not a bad opening for this. I think it should do well enough to get its money back through, for the next couple of weeks. But I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to get to $15 million for this movie. But damn it, man, I'm just so disappointed that they did not push this film more, because you have here is the best movie of the year so far, a movie that is trying to prove that, hey, the Looney Tunes are still relevant and we still like these characters, even though David Zaslav apparently he was raped by Bugs Bunny or something, because I don't know what the hell is going on, because just today, I almost beat the mic, is almost moved the, I hit my phone and the thing almost fell off the stand I have it on, but it really does seem like David Zaslav has such a backlash against the Looney Tunes, because just today they announced that they took all the Looney Tunes cartoons off of Max for some stupid reason that is beyond me. Like, this is the company that says, we're going to make a Lord of the Rings anime movie and put it on the big screen, not because we really do feel like there's something there, but no, we just want to keep the rights to the Lord of the Rings franchise. So here's a half-ass Lord of the Rings movie that should not be on the big screen, just so we can keep the rights going. It's just like they'll put more money into that, but they won't put money into this really good movie that they have, and they have to force another studio that doesn't have much of a marketing company to put a real big push out on this to put it out for them. But I don't know. But it's baffling to me. It's really baffling that it's come to this. But everybody who's gone to see it really likes it. You've seen the buzz starting to build on this. Hopefully, word of mouth can help it. I mean, granted, this is probably its only week it's got, because, of course, next week everyone's going to be going to see Snow White. And, but I hope there's just enough push there with the lack of a lot of new releases this spring. I mean, I'm hoping for the best for this. I'm hoping this will stick around here, because, man, you are missing out on the best movie of the year if you have not. It's a likely candidate for the best movie of the year if you have not seen this movie. But we'll delve more into the box office as a whole coming up in just a little bit here, and just why everything's been kind of like tracking low as of late. But let's go to number 4, and it's a holdover, Captain America: Brave New World, bringing in $5.5 million, only dropping 35% from last weekend. It's up to $185.4 million after 5 weeks. Worldwide, it's closing in on $400 million, $388.5 million as of right now. Not a hit, not a bomb, just kind of in the middle, and kind of underwhelming for what Marvel was expecting, but it certainly could have been a whole lot worse, considering the backlash that was coming out before the film came out. And that leads us into another new release that supposedly is really good. I've yet to see this film, but I kind of want to see it now. Number 3 on the list is Black Bag, the new spy thriller from Steven Soderbergh, and also starring Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett. The story about this movie is that you have a intelligence agent who's suspected of betraying the nation, and her husband, who's also a legendary ace, faces the ultimate test of whether to be loyal to his marriage or to his country. And everything I've heard about this movie is that it's not only a good movie, it's a really damn good movie. Like, this is a film that reminds a lot of people of, like, old film noirs, like old Hitchcock stuff, like Vertigo or something like that. Like, I felt like that's what I've been hearing from a lot of people. I've been kind of curious to see it. I mean, I'll hopefully get to see it at some point. Probably won't be in theaters. Probably I'll have to wait for it to come out on streaming. But yeah, $7.5 million doesn't sound like it's that bad at all. But then again, you have to look at the budget for this, and the budget for this was $50 million. So yeah, this thing is going to have to rely heavily on the international grosses to really cement this film as a success, which I don't know if that's going to do that per se, but regardless, Steven Soderbergh's apparently having a really good year. I mean, he had this, and then he had Presence earlier in the year, which that one was a much smaller budgeted film. It's actually written and directed by the same team. Soderbergh and David Coet wrote the script for that one, but that's another one I have yet to see, but I've heard a lot of good things about that one. So Steven Soderbergh's having a pretty good year, apparently, so I got to check it out at some point. That one, and also Black Bag. I'm really curious about Black Bag, so. Which brings us to number 2, the number 1 movie last week, which was Mickey 17, which dropped 61% from last week, bringing in $7.5 million, and bringing its 2-week gross to $33.3 million. If you take in worldwide numbers, it's at $90 million worldwide. This thing cost $110 million, and yeah, this is unfortunately looking like it's going to be a bomb. And it couldn't be if Warner Brothers was smart and kept the movie in theaters for a couple of weeks. And oh wait, they're going to put it out on digital next week. Yeah, because clearly that's what you need to do when your $110 million movie fails in theaters. So just send it to streaming and hope that you can recuperate the money there. It's just like. That's going to lead into one of the many problems I'm going to get to here in just a little bit here, but this is one I've yet to get out and see. Hopefully it'll still be in theaters when I get out to the theater next week to see Snow White, but that's what I'm definitely looking forward to seeing. I've heard a lot of interesting things about it. Some people say it's really good. Some people say the first half's good, second half is when it kind of falls apart. So I'm definitely curious to check it out. So let's go ahead and move on to the number one movie this weekend, and that is Novocaine, which is the action comedy which stars Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan's son Jack Quaid, and also Jack Nicholson's son Ray is in this movie. It's a really funny concept from the trailer. It's a story where you have the girl of his dreams getting kidnapped. This guy, played by Jack Quaid, is incapable of feeling physical pain and turns his rare condition into an unexpected advantage in the fight to rescue her. Now, the good news is for this movie is that it's a high-concept film, and it didn't cost Paramount all that much to make. It only cost them $18 million. And it brought in $8.7 million. So that should help it out in making its budget back overall. It's already at $10.5 million worldwide. That's the good news. The bad news is it's the number one movie at the box office this weekend, and it only brought in $8 million. Which you can kind of attribute that to the fact that there isn't a lot of star power in this movie, and Jack Quaid isn't a big box office draw, unfortunately. I mean, the guy's a great actor. I've seen him in The Hunger Games. He's in Logan Lucky. He's on The Boys, of course. He's the voice of Superman in My Adventures with Superman. He's been in Scream, Oppenheimer. He was just in Companion. But I think the fact that there's no big names attached to this to really get people to come to the movie. I mean, this is still a lot of relatively unknown people. Jack Quaid, Amber Midthunder from Prey, Ray Nicholson, which you wouldn't know he's the son of Jack Nicholson until you look on Wikipedia and say, gee, Nicholson, I wonder if he's related to Jack in any way, shape, or form. And then there you go. Jacob Batalon, I think, is probably the biggest name of the cast in this movie. And he's of course, Ned from Spider-Man. But then you got these other character actors like Betty Gabriel, Matt Walsh. I mean, the directors aren't really well known either. Dan Burke and Robert Olson, these are guys that did stuff like Body, Stakeland 2, Villains, Significant Other. Joby Harold is not a real notable name in terms of He's the producer on this movie, but I know he's produced a lot of stuff. Like he's produced Edge of Tomorrow. He produced the recent Transformers movie, The Flash, John Wick Chapter 3, but nobody really knows who these people are, and I think that really is part of why there wasn't really a big push to get out there and go see the film, because this does not have any big names attached to it. But with all that said, though, it is getting a lot of good reviews. It's got an 82 on Rotten Tomatoes, a B on Cinema Score. It's been doing pretty well with most critics across the country, and like I said, it's got a small budget overall, $18 million, which should not be that hard to make back at all. I think this thing should have no trouble making its money back overall, but if they were really going into this weekend hoping that the star talents of Joby Harold, Dennis Quaid's son, Jack Nicholson's son, the chick from Prey, and Ned from Spider-Man were going to carry the film, I think they made a huge mistake on that front there, But there were a couple of other little releases coming out. The Last Supper brought in $2.8 million in sixth place. Ayo Edebiri's new film, Opus, from A24, brought in $1 million, which the word of mouth on that one was not that good, despite the fact that it had her and John Malkovich in it, and it's A24. But other than that, though, yeah, it was not a great weekend at the box office overall. Which brings me to something else I want to add about the box office in general, because we are in a sluggish period right now, and the big question everyone's asking is, what happened? So yeah, everybody's kind of asking the same question. What's going on with the box office? I mean, why isn't it as strong as it usually is? Well, I mean, if we're being perfectly honest here, it's not that hard to see why. But I found this article on Variety as I was doing some research today, and I mean, it kind of gives you kind of an idea of what's going on right now. And it says, if Hollywood is looking to 2025 to reset the movie theater business after a tough 5-year stretch, it's not off to the strongest of starts. Original films like Novocaine, Black Bag, and Mickey 17 are failing to draw sizable crowds, while sequels and once reliable franchises such as Captain America Brave New World and Paddington in Peru are falling drastically short of their predecessors. Which, first of all, Novocaine, Mickey 17, and Black Bag aren't really pushing. I mean, these are not bad movies that I've heard of. I mean, these are movies that are actually capably done. But I mean, we'll get to the reason why those films aren't doing well. Captain America: Brave New World is doing well enough considering all the backlash it was getting beforehand. Paddington in Peru most of that money's coming from overseas markets. I mean, Paddington is not a big draw here in the States, unfortunately. I mean, it's a lot like a Doraemon. You know, Doraemon's popular everywhere else around the world, especially in Japan. But here in America, we can't. But we have no idea how to celebrate this character and give him the respect he deserves, just like he does in other countries. I mean, when Disney can't even sell him to America the right way, there's clearly something wrong here. And it's not the character itself; it's just the fact that there just isn't a high demand for a character like him or Paddington in the U.S., unfortunately. And it's not the character's fault. The movies are great, but I mean, we in the U.S. should be glad that we're getting that people are coming to see these movies regardless. And they're the films that are definitely going to be holding on to lasting legacies. I mean, we're still going to be talking about the Paddington movies years to come, but in terms of like Novocaine, Black Bag, and Mickey 17 not doing well, I think I can pretty much explain why these movies have not been doing well. And I think it's pretty obvious if you watch a lot of television, if you watch videos online. Have you noticed that you don't really know these movies are coming out, first of all? It's like this is, and maybe, just maybe, if the studios really want people to get their butts into the seats and see these movies, maybe, just maybe, promote your goddamn movies more more, because good lord, I don't think I've ever seen a lineup of films that have done so poorly because the studios just won't promote the films. Like, you don't see commercials on television anymore, and when you do see them, it's already too late. Like, it's literally days before the movies come out, and nobody knows when the films come out. Like, you know, we had The Monkey, the Oscar Perkins movie that came out the weekend after, and you know, nobody really knew that was coming out. I mean, nobody really saw any commercials on television. Last Breath had promos on TV playing days before the film came out. I didn't even know that movie existed until I saw the commercials watching The Simpsons on FXX. I mean, like, yeah, that's the problem here. The movies are. It's not that the movies are terrible. Far from it. It's the fact that you're not doing a good job of promoting these movies whatsoever. Why are the Disney movies making the most money? Because Disney is the one that's putting their money in the promotions. Like, Warner Brothers barely had anything for Mickey 17 unless you were watching the football, because they had a huge promo push during the playoffs in the NFL, but Warner Brothers doesn't bother promoting anything in the Super Bowl. Like, at least Novocaine had the knowledge to say, gee, the biggest television event of the year, you know how we can get this movie out to the public? Put a commercial during the Super Bowl. And sure enough, that's what they did. And maybe it kind of helped them out in the long run, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, it didn't really help them out at all, because other than that, they haven't really been promoting the film as much as they should. I don't know what's going on with these marketing companies. Are they just consolidating them at the studios or something like that? Because this is getting ridiculous. And, like, of course, next week we've got Snow White. Snow White is being pushed around. You've already seen the promos and all that stuff, but you probably also forgot that there's a new movie coming out with Jonathan Majors involved, Magazine Dreams. You probably forgot there's a new Barry Levinson film coming out. Barry Levinson's first movie in a while, and it stars Robert De Niro. It's in dual roles, The Alton Nights, which is a film I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing, assuming it's actually going to play in theaters, because I think this is one where they're not showing any promos on television for it. And it has me worried that this is just going to go straight to limited release and just kind of be dumped out there. And then you probably forget that there's a couple of other movies coming out at the end of the month, like The Women in the Yard, the new horror film from Jason Blum. Like, how can you not promote a movie with Jason Blum's name on it? Regardless of how you feel about his movies, Blumhouse is a marketable name, and yet NBC and Universal, the companies that are right up there with Disney with marketing and doing a great job at it, are failing to promote these movies they've got coming out. Like, if we're being honest, the only big marketing push I've seen over the next couple of weeks was the Minecraft movie, and that's the one that's projected to make a ton of money, which, I don't know, it still looks incredibly bad. It still looks incredibly bad to me, but did you know that there was a new Alex Garland movie coming out next month? A movie that came out around the same time last year that Civil War did? I didn't know that. I had to look online and see, wait, Alex Garland's working on this movie? It's a movie called Warfare, which he's one of the co-directors on it. I guess it's a movie about Navy SEALs embarking on this mission in Iraq, and, you know, it's opening on the same weekend Civil War did, and Civil War turned out to be one of A24's biggest hits that they've ever had. You would think that A24 would think about this and go, gee, I wonder if we should start going ahead and promoting this movie because of how well this director did last year with Civil War. You know, there's a new Rami Malek movie coming out from Disney and Fox, The Amateur. The film with, it's him and, who else is in it? I can't remember who it is, but, yeah, it feels like they're not doing anything about that. There's another Jason Blum movie coming out called Drop with Megan Faney, which is also by Blumhouse, and as I said before, but, you know, the word of mouth on that one supposedly is really good too, so, I mean, I don't get what's going on here. I mean, they're not doing it. They're not promoting these movies enough. I mean, Sinners, the Michael B. Jordan movie, got a big promotional push during the NFL playoffs, and of course they had the trailer dropping during the Super Bowl, and, you know, is that going to be enough to bring people into the seats? Because unfortunately, as we saw at Mickey 17, that didn't really help that film a lot in general. But then again, it's mostly going to depend on how the film does at the box office, does it with critics overall. I think a lot of people are waiting for the word of mouth to come. Plus, that movie, I think, does have enough of name recognition there. I mean, you got Ryan Coogler, you got Michael B. Jordan, Haley Atwell's in there. Haley Steinfeld, excuse me, Haley Steinfeld. I mean, there are notable names in that film that I think will put the people in the seats, but I don't know, like, the fact that the lack of, you know, the lack of a marketing push really feels like it's rearing its ugly head in here. And I'm going back to the article here. Attendance is expected to pick up in the spring and into the summer as a Minecraft movie, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, Jurassic World Rebirth, Lilo and Stitch, and other blockbusters hopefuls land in theaters. Until then, however, box office revenues are looking dire. Which, again, Minecraft movie probably will do well. Jurassic World Rebirth will probably do well because it's got the 4th of July weekend on its own. I think Lilo and Stitch could do really, really well. I think the word of mouth on that one's getting better. They're doing a great job with the marketing push in particular. They're doing a great job of putting the focus on Stitch. The last trailer just came out this week. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, I'm actually really looking forward to it. And this is just me saying that because Stitch is my favorite Disney character. But I would not be shocked at all if Lilo and Stitch outperforms Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. And don't get me wrong, Tom Cruise is the king of these movies. Like, he's the guy he's the main focus of those movies, and he's done a good job of promoting those movies. But think about what happened last time around with the last Mission Impossible movie. They opened that the weekend before Barbie and Oppenheimer. And so now you have this opening on Memorial Day weekend, the same day as Lilo and Stitch, which coincidentally, the original Lilo and Stitch opened on the same day of a Tom Cruise movie, Minority Report, and that day, you know, that was the day Tom Cruise beat Disney on that front, even though both films still did very well. I really do feel like it could be the opposite way. I really do see a scenario where Lilo and Stitch beats Mission Impossible as the #1 movie at the box office, because I mean, to be honest, the last Mission Impossible movie, I liked it, but I didn't love it like everybody else did. I just felt like there's just too much stuff in that movie where I thought that they were adding way too many elements here. There wasn't really there was a lack of a lot of interesting things to keep it together. And yeah, you got the cool stunt moments in there. You got some brief flashes of really cool action sequences, but I mean, the fact that the movie didn't perform well and they had to just basically, this was originally supposed to be the second part of Dead Reckoning, but they basically had to make the first film, Dead Reckoning, as its own. So now we have the Final Reckoning, which is like, and even Mission Impossible is just like, we're about 2 months away from that coming out, and it seems like Paramount's not really doing anything in terms of like big promotions for it. It's just like we've had one teaser trailer that came out around Christmas time, I think, but we haven't had anything since then. Like, I'm guessing maybe there was I want to take a guess and say there might have been a trailer that maybe dropped during Novocaine, and it's one of those things where they only show it in theaters, and then later in the week they'll show it on they'll show it online. I'm thinking that's what happens. That's what's happening, but I don't know, man. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're waiting for March Madness to start, because March Madness could be a launch pad for these movies that haven't had a big marketing push yet to get their butts in high gear here. I mean, it wouldn't put past them to do it during the March Madness, honestly, but but the bottom line here is what I'm trying to say about the box office as a whole is that it's not helping the box office when you're not promoting these movies out to people. I mean, it's not the movies themselves. It's not the fact that they're bad. There's not bad movies here. Far from it. We've had our fair share of really good movies that a lot of people say, hey, you should probably go ahead and check this movie out because it's actually pretty cool. I mean, like, as I said before, The Day the Earth Blew Up, Black Bag, I've heard a lot of great things about. Last Breath, I was hearing a lot of really good things about, but it's just, I really wish we had a good idea of what was going on, and I really wish we knew what was going on with the box office in general, and just what are we holding up here for? Like, what's the hold up? Like, why are we not getting any big pushes on a lot of these big movies in general? But it's just, like, I don't know, it's just baffling to me. But regardless, there are a lot of good movies out there that you should be checking out. I mean, Novocaine, I've heard a lot of good things about. Mickey 17, I've heard a lot of good things about. Black Bags, I've heard it's pretty good. The Day the Earth Blew Up is amazing. So, yeah, there are definitely a lot of good films out there that should be seen in the theater, and you should get your butts up to go see. Really, it's just that, like, but it's really got to depend on the studios to come out there and put the money where the mouth is. Just like, put the money into putting these movies out here. Like, people want to go to the movies, man. I hate this idea that everybody thinks that streaming is the way to go with the future. And we're going to talk about one big new movie that came out on streaming this week that has largely been panned, and having seen it, I can definitely see why. But even that movie probably could have done well if there had been a studio out there willing to put it out there and put a push to it. I mean, if you put it on an international release with a big worldwide release, that movie could have made back its budget, no question about it. Hell, The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, would probably be the number one movie if Warner Brothers actually put their time and the effort to put the film out, to put a big marketing push out there. Do what Disney does with their movies. Put the money out there. Like, put the money into the film that you're supposed to be proud of, instead of just dumping it like it's bad stock. Like, it just makes no sense whatsoever. And, after this, next week we've got, of course, Snow White, which should do very well. And, it's gonna be Disney, because they're the ones who, they're the only ones out there that are putting a lot of the money into the marketing for this, and people will go to see that movie regardless of the internet backlash, which really is not backlash really at all. It's just people that are whining because, oh, how dare Rachel Zegler say that Snow White is so outdated and out of touch, and that's a stupid controversy to me. With Gal Gadot, I mean, I'm not going to say anything about her thing, because it's mostly related to the controversy surrounding Gal Gadot has been mostly about, the Israel-Palestine conflict, which personally I don't care about. Not to say that I don't care about the outcome here, but I've got more important things to do in my life than put the focus on that. But I mean, like I said, it's gonna be it'll be the number one movie. Not to say it'll be a great success overall, but it'll at least give people who are worried about the box office to say, hey, there's a little bit of promise here. And I don't know, but it looks like, honestly, the film doesn't look that bad, and I'm looking forward to it because I like these two as actresses. Rachel Zegler, I've been a big fan of for a long time. Thanks to West Side Story and the Hunger Games movie. I've liked Gal Gadot. I think she's really good as Wonder Woman. Mark Webb is a solid director. This is the guy that did 500 Days of Summer. And, I don't like his Spider-Man films he did, but Andrew Garfield's pretty badass. But yeah, there really should not be a problem with the box office in general for Snow White. I'm more worried about what the Alto Nights is going to do because, yeah, like I said, I've yet to see one commercial on television for it. It's a $45 million movie, and it seems like Warner Brothers is doing the same thing to this film that they did to Clint Eastwood's Juror Number 2, and just kind of dumping it out there where nobody's going to even know it even exists. But it's what I kind of want to see. But hopefully there is something out there that I'm just not seeing, and I don't know. But it's not helping the box office when you're not promoting these movies. That's my main argument here. It's just like, Hollywood studios, because I know some of you out there are watching this show because you have an idea of who I am, but this is coming from somebody who loves movies and still goes to the theaters for entertainment and doesn't see streaming as a necessity, and I see it more of as an accessory. But put the money into marketing your movies. Novocaine probably would have done twice as much as it did this weekend if you actually tried. Just try. That's all we're asking you to do, is just fucking try. So anyway, that's my extended view of the box office in general, and just the current state we're in right now, which is not very good, but a little bit of a uphill climb coming up next week before we go eventually back down the following week, because nothing is opening up between Snow White and Minecraft that's going to be a big hit overall, which is a shame. But that's being said, let's get to the news stories this week. Not a whole lot of intriguing news stories, but I did find a couple of things here that I kind of want to talk about here because they are noteworthy things. But let's start with the first story we got here. And that is that Sony Pictures is remaking a movie that doesn't need to be remade because they've already remade it, but fuck you, we're doing it anyway. Single White Female is getting a remake, and this time it's going to feature Jenna Ortega and Taylor Russell from Bones and All, and got the story here from the Hollywood Reporter. And it says Elizabeth Gabler's 3000 Pictures, which has a deal with Sony, is looking to remake 1992 horror drama that starred Bridget Fonda and Jennifer Jason Leigh. That's how it's on this article, by the way. They were too lazy to put the 1992 horror drama. It's just like looking to remake 1992 horror drama, like it's like Tonto from the Lone Ranger. It's just like we are looking to remake 1992 horror drama. Telfaja. But I digress. The feature was directed by Babette Schroeder and was based on John Lutz's 1990 novel SWF Seeks Same. Lutz co-wrote the adaptation with Don Roos. Both Russell and Ortega will star in the remake and produce. Sony offered no comments on the project. The Insider first reported the news. In the original, Bridget Fonda played Allison, a woman who takes in Hedra, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, as a roommate, only to bring her into her Upper West Side flat, a terrifying stalker worthy of a suspense thriller. Sony's Columbia Pictures distributed Single White Female, which was made for $16 million and grossed $48 million domestically. The horror drama scored a 2005 direct-to-video sequel, Single White Female 2: The Cycle, which starred Kristen Miller. The update of Single White Female from 3000 Pictures will be notable for neither Ortega or Russell being white. Is it really that notable, honestly? Like, are we really going to use that as a push for this? But anyway. Besides appearing in Netflix's Wednesday as Wednesday Addams, Ortega also toplines A24's Death of a Unicorn, acting alongside Paul Rudd as a father and daughter who accidentally hit a unicorn with their car and bring it into the wilderness retreat of a wealthy pharmaceutical executive. I actually just saw the trailer for this a couple of days ago, and it's very, very interesting, to say the least. But Ortega will also star in the suspense thriller Hurry Up Tomorrow, the first feature film from the pop star, The Weeknd, set for May 16th. Ortega will play the role of Anima alongside Barry Keoghan as Lee. Russell, the breakthrough star of Trey Edward Schultz's family drama Ways, also starred alongside Timothy Chalamet and Luca Guadagnino's cannibal love story Bones and All, where she played the role of Maureen. Russell will also appear in the upcoming film Hope from director Nia Hong-jin and The Thomas Crown Affair from director and co-star Michael B. Jordan. So, yeah, they're remaking this movie, but they forget that they already remade this movie, and they didn't even... It's 14 years ago, and does anyone remember the movie The Roommate?
I'm her only friend. Something is up with your roommate. Hello? You're a bad influence on her. What did you do to them? I got rid of them all! For you.
Yeah, remember that movie? No, you don't, because it came out on Super Bowl weekend that weekend. Because Sony knew that this film was never going to make any money. It's on a weekend when there isn't a big sporting event going on, so they dumped it on Super Bowl weekend, and it's because they knew that dumbass teenagers were going to go see the movie on the first weekend and give the movie all the money that they needed to make the budget back. It was a $16 million budgeted film, and it brought back 3 times that amount of money, more than that. It featured Leighton Meester and Minka Kelly. It was basically just a college version of Single White Female. I mean, it's literally the same movie with, Leighton Meester and Minka Kelly not even being in the same wavelengths as Bridget Fonda or Jennifer Jason Leigh. It was just not a good movie, and really, you didn't need to really do a whole lot of You really need to be that smart to know that, yeah, this was not going to be that type of a film. And because at least with the benefit of Single White Female, which is a film that I'm not the biggest fan of per se, but I get why it was a hit. Kind of like with The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. With The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, I just couldn't take Rebecca De Mornay seriously as a threat. Like, she's a great actress and all, but it goes back to what I kind of said before in the past, that most actresses can't really play the villain very well. There's only been a few times when people have been able to pull that off very well. Most notably for me, I think Ava Green has done a pretty good job at that. But yeah, Rebecca De Mornay is one of those people that just can't make it work as a whole. I mean, like I said, I didn't hate it, but I was just kind of like, I don't see the appeal of it. I think because they had seasoned actors like Jennifer Jason Leigh and Bridget Fonda, and a director like Bobette Schroeder, who before this had done Reversal of Fortune, I think that's kind of elevated to a level where I could say, I'm glad I saw it, but I have no real intentions on ever watching it again. I don't think it's as good as most people make it out to be, and honestly, there's no real reason to remake it. It wasn't even one of those movies where it's just like, well, this is a bad film that you can just remake. Why not just remake a bad film? Like I always say, why not just remake a bad movie? It's not even that bad of a bad movie where I could say, yeah, this is the type of film that you should be remaking. It's just kind of like, there's no real reason to remake this movie, man. I mean, we're kind of past this point. Not to mention, Lifetime Channel has already remade this movie 168 billion times. There's no reason to remake this movie again. But then again, I'm not running a studio, so yeah. But yeah, anyway, that's the story on the Single White Female remake that nobody was asking for, but fuck you, we're doing it anyway. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next story. And again, this is kind of be in the same category of the Single White Female remake. We really don't need this. Even though this is a really damn good show, it ended already, and it should stop where it stopped at season 3. But Apple TV Plus has gone ahead and officially renewed Ted Lasso for a new season. Even though the third season, the last episode pretty much wrapped the show up on a really good positive note, but because Ted Lasso is one of the big notable things from this decade, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it anyway because Apple TV Plus has a big hit on their hands, and heaven forbid if we can just let a show go at the end of season 3. But anyway, this again comes from the Hollywood Reporter. AFC Richmond is heading back to the pitch as their coach is coming with them. After more than a year of speculation, Apple TV Plus has ordered a 4th season of its Emmy-winning comedy, Ted Lasso. The pickup comes after co-creator and star Jason Sudeikis closed the deal to reprise his role as the title character, the manager of the fictional AFC Richmond Soccer Club in London. Ted Lasso has been nothing short of a juggernaut, inspiring a passionate fan base all over the world and delivering endless joy and laughter, all while spreading kindness, compassion, and unwavering belief, Matt Turner's head of programming for Apple TV Plus said in a statement. Everyone at Apple is thrilled to be continuing our collaboration with Jason and the brilliant creative minds behind the show. Speculation about a possible 4th season have been ongoing since season 3 concluded in May of 2023. The show's creative team had said a decision would hinge largely on Sudeikis committing to continue. Co-creator and executive producer Bill Lawrence told the Hollywood Reporter of the WGA Awards in February, "You will find that anybody involved with Ted Lasso will say the same thing. Our fearless leader Jason Sudeikis will talk about that when he's ready. I'm sure he's somewhere right now at SNL's 50th anniversary show answering the same question." A few details about Season 4 has emerged. On Jason and Travis Kelce's New Heights podcast Friday, Sudeikis said that Ted would be coaching a women's team in Season 4, a seed planted in the Season 3 finale with Keely Jones, Juno Temple suggesting to Richmond owner Rebecca Welton, played by Hannah Waddingham, that the club should start a women's team. The Hollywood Reporter reported in August 2024 that Warner Brothers, which produces Ted Lasso, had picked up options for Waddingham, Brett Goldstein, and Jeremy Swift in anticipation of a possible 4th season. Apple TV Plus is not confirming any casting beyond that of Sudeikis, but sources tell the Hollywood Reporter that Temple is in negotiations to reprise her role as Keely, and Brendan Hunt, also a co-creator and executive producer, is close to signing on to playing Coach Beard again. Additionally, Jack Burditt from Nobody Wants This and 30 Rock is joining the series as an executive producer as part of a new overall deal with Apple TV Plus. Sudeikis offered a hint of the theme of the coming season in a statement saying, "As we all continue to live in a world where so many factors have conditioned us to look before we leap, in Season 4, the folks at AFC Richmond learn to leap before they look, discovering that wherever they land, it's exactly where they're meant to be." Season 3 of Ted Lasso ended with Ted choosing to return to the United States and be closer to his son, Gus Turner, and his ex-wife, Andrea Anders, hinting at a reconciliation between them, while other members of the Richmond team were moving into new phases of their lives. Season 3... Page just came up when I was trying to read it. Season 3 is Apple TV's most watched show to date and finished 2023 as the #1 original streaming series in the United States, according to Nielsen. So, yeah, I thought Season 3 ended the show on a really good note. And, yeah, I mean, it's cool that they want to get everybody back here. Ted Lasso was a really good, fun show overall. And I really did enjoy it. I thought it was a ton of fun to watch. And I mean, I thought the series ended on a really good note overall. I think it was a very entertaining show, but honestly, I would really kind of not want to see the show continue. I mean, you extend the show way past its period, you end up with something like Scrubs, which should have ended when JD left at the end of season 8. I think it was the last year that he was officially part of the main cast, but I mean, I don't know. Like I'll watch it because I like the show so much. But I'll say this though, I really don't think this is the smartest move possible. But I really think that Jason Sudeikis has to have an idea of what he's doing here, about the risk he's taking, because you have a chance to end the series on a high note here, but but they're going to continue this in a way that's basically saying that we're basically doing this because we want to make more cash off of this. I mean, that's what Apple's saying about it. But hey, as long as Jason's there, as long as Bill Lawrence is there, as long as the cast is there, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give them a chance to see what they can do, and hopefully this will be worth it in the end. And like Jason Sudeikis said, we kind of need a little bit of positivity in the world, especially with the way things have been going now within the last 2 months. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the Ted Lasso Season 4 news. So let's go ahead and move on to our next story here. So the next story I have here is one that's not really... I didn't even know was something that they were actually doing until I saw the article for it. But you remember the movie Edge of Tomorrow? The fact that it was a great movie. Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, directed by Doug Liman. Very, very good movie, and most people forget that it was originally based off of a graphic novel, Japanese manga, not a graphic novel, but a Japanese manga called All You Need Is Kill. And the original title of the movie was going to be All You Need Is Kill, but Warner Brothers, in their infinite wisdom, decided that the title All You Need Is Kill was not going to sell in the marketing department, and so they basically had the title changed to Edge of Tomorrow, which ended up hurting the movie in the long run in terms of its box office success, but did go on to become a critical success and is still considered to be one of the best underrated films from the decade of the 2010s. But apparently Warner Brothers learned their lesson, because they are using the name All You Need Is Kill for a new anime movie based off of the book. And I've got a little bit of the trailer here, so let me see if I can go ahead and play some of this real quick. Repeat. It's mostly in Japanese, but it shows you the English words here. Death and rebirth. Yeah, this is definitely very much like Edge of Tomorrow. You got this. The trailer essentially, you have this. It looks like a woman. I could be wrong on that, but it's this woman that keeps dying from all these different things, and like she keeps coming back every day, and we get the article here for the story here as they're talking about this, and it says here, this comes from The Verge. So let me just go ahead and read it to you so I get a good idea from the article itself. But All You Need Is Kill, Hiroshi Sakuruzaka's 2004 sci-fi novel that served as the inspiration for the surprisingly excellent Edge of Tomorrow, is being developed into a gorgeous animated feature. Today, Warner Bros. Japan announced that director Kenichiro Akimoto of Children of the Sea and Harmony is working on a new take of All You Need Is Kill that will be produced at Studio 4 Degrees Celsius, like the original novel, its 2014 manga adaptation, illustrated by Takashi Obata, and Warner Bros. Live-action film starring Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. The latest incarnation of All You Need Is Kill revolves around Kiji Kiria and Rita Vatarsky, a pair of human soldiers who find themselves trapped in a time loop as the world wages war against an alien invasion. A trailer for the new movie teases how the take of Kiji and Rita still die in combat, only to wake up very much alive due to a time-space anomaly caused by the aliens' advanced weapons. But whereas previous versions of the story were mainly focused on Kiji, the new All You Need Is Kill will be told from Rita's perspective. So I guess that's Rita in there as the person that keeps waking up, and delve deeper into her existential loneliness, according to the studio. Warner hasn't announced any casting details or release window, but the trailer makes it abundantly clear that the new All You Need Is Kill is going to be visually stunning when it's ultimately released into the wild. And more than likely, it's going to be a straight-to-DVD release or a digital release, but it looks pretty cool, and I like the design of it. I like the animation. I like the fact that it's focusing on Rita, played in the original film, of course, by Emily Blunt, and I'm really curious to see how this one pans out. I think it looks pretty cool, and I'm glad to see that it's not just going to be a straightforward retelling of the Edge of Tomorrow movie. It's going to be something very different altogether, and I'm really curious to see which direction that goes into. But Warner Brothers Japan is working on this. Studio 4 Degrees C, they've done some stuff that I'm familiar with. I thought I was familiar with, at least, but they've done some stuff. Thundercats, they did the 2011 Thundercats series, which kind of is an underrated show, really. But they've also done Batman Gotham Knight. They did a couple of episodes. They did a couple of the segments there. They did Justice League, The Flashpoint Paradox. They did Halo Legends. They did Green Lantern, Emerald Knights. They've done some music videos, some short films, a lot of video game work. Yeah, this looks like it could be a really cool concept, a really interesting film overall. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they do with All You Need Is Kill. So we just gotta wait for it to come out, though. But with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last big movie news story we have this week. And that is that we are going back to war, baby. Starship Troopers is coming back. The Hollywood Reporter here has the story here, and it says, Johnny Rico is coming back to kill some more bugs. Columbia Pictures is plotting a new Starship Troopers movie, sending District 9 filmmaker Neill Blomkamp to write and direct an adaptation of the classic sci-fi novel story by Robert A. Heinlein. Blomkamp will also produce the feature alongside Terry Tatchell, his partner and wife, who co-wrote the South American filmmakers District 9 and 2015 outing Chappie. Published in 1959, Troopers ostensibly told of an interstellar war between Earth and a host of bug-like aliens and focused on a rise of military servicemen named Johnny Rico. But the story had other things in mind, like exploring the strengths of life in military societies and such ideas as having to perform service in order to have voting rights. While the book won a Hugo Award for Best Novel and has been quite influential in sci-fi literature, some quarters describe the book as fascist. It was that tone that was satirized in the 1997 movie from Paul Verhoeven, the director of RoboCop, Total Recall, Basic Instinct, and Showgirls. Verhoeven was over the top in his depiction of the military jingoism and propaganda, fetishized costumes, and highlighted Nazi influences. Rico was played by square-jaw roughneck Casper Van Dien, and the cast included Dina Meyer, Denise Richards, Neil Patrick Harris, and Michael Ironside. While the movie was not initially a success, and some critics accused Verhoeven of putting a positive spin on fascism, the movie has since developed a reappraisal and a cult following. Blomkamp's take is not a remake of the Verhoeven movie, and sources say the goal is to go back to the source material. I mean, this would be fun news if Neil Blomkamp had made anything of noteworthiness in the last couple of years. I mean, District 9 and Elysium were probably his big overall, like, those were his really good movies, and then he just kind of fell apart after that. Chappie, Gran Turismo wasn't that great of a movie. Heretic, did he do Heretic? Well, he did one movie last year. I can't remember if it was Heretic. I think it was. No, that wasn't him. That was Scott Beck and Brian Woods, who worked on A Quiet Place. What was the last thing he did? Because he did something last year that wasn't a big hit. Did he do something last year, or was it just Gran Turismo? Gran Turismo, good lord. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of Demonic, which came out in between Chappie and Gran Turismo. But I mean, Gran Turismo wasn't awful, but it definitely was not that great of a movie overall. But it was a step in the right direction from after Chappie and Heretic. But I don't know. It was an overall entertaining movie. It's a film that I've kind of grown attached to over the last couple of years. I think they knew what they were doing in terms of what they were trying to make fun of here. But, I mean, a version that's based off of the original book could be really fun and interesting. But then again, Neil Blomkamp doing this, it just feels like he's kind of going back to what made him famous in the first place with District 9. The big question for him is that how are you going to distance Starship Troopers to your work on District 9? That's maybe the biggest thing that I've got to ask him going into this. It's like, how are you going to make Starship Troopers your own thing and not make it look like a retread of the thing that made your name in the first place with District 9? But again, that'll be something that he'll have to find out for himself. But I'll be looking forward to seeing it if it actually gets going forward. But that's Starship Troopers, the remake of that. So with that said, let's go ahead and get to some other news stories this week. So it's the middle of March, and you know what that means. It means it's the start of an all-new NFL season. Free agency officially open on Wednesday, and we were already getting going right out of the get-go on Sunday night with the Steelers making the first big headlines of the of the free agency market by trading for DK Metcalf. And they traded with Seattle to get him, and almost immediately they basically signed him to a 5-year, $150 million deal the Steelers did. And it's just kind of like, holy shit, man. Like, what the hell? Like, I know the Steelers need a quarterback, and I know they screwed the pooch on Justin Fields, but holy crap, man. Like 5 years, $150 million. The Steelers don't do that. And if you're going to do that, you got to do it you got to have a backup plan ready. But just like last year with Russell Wilson, as we found out, yeah, they really, really don't seem to have like a backup plan in general. But we'll get to them in just a second. But let's just run through some of the other big free agency pickups there were this week. So I'm just going to kind of run through some of the big ones that were announced this week. One of the big ones was Josh Allen getting the big 6-year, $330 million contract with $250 million guaranteed from the Buffalo Bills, which really should not come as a surprise to anybody per se. But the Buffalo Bills, some of their big free agent pickups they picked up Darrington Evans, the running back, Josh Palmer from the Chargers, Khalil Shakir signed a new extension. They got Kendrick Green from the Titans, Joey Bosa signed with them after Von Miller left. They got Michael Holt. They re-signed Greg Russo. They picked up Larry Ogunjobi from the Steelers. Terrell Bernard signed. Dane Jackson signed. DeMar Hamlin re-signed a deal, which, you'd be crazy to get rid of DeMar Hamlin after what he had to go through, especially considering that he's gotten better since that moment. But those were some of the big pickups for the Buffalo Bills. The Dolphins, they signed Zach Wilson from the Broncos to be the backup quarterback for Tua. They signed Alexander Mattison from the Raiders. Dwayne Eskridge, they re-signed him. Nick Westbrook-Akine signed a deal with the Dolphins. James Daniels signed a 3-year deal with them. Of course, James Daniels with the Steelers. Anybody else here? Ashton Davis from the Jets signed. The Patriots signed Josh Dobbs as the backup to Drake May. They signed wide receiver Mac Hollins. They signed Austin Hooper, the tight end. Morgan Moses signed a deal. Harold Landry signed with them. Kelvin Chasen signed with them. Milton Williams from the Philadelphia Eagles. They got a massive 4-year, $104 million deal for them. Robert Spillane, Carlton Davis, Marcus Epps, Jalen Hawkins. The Jets, as I said, signed Justin Fields to a 2-year, $40 million deal, which that disappointed me when that happened because, of course, I was hoping the Steelers would re-sign him. Kenny Nwangu re-signed with them. Chukwuma Okorafor, who was with the Patriots last year, signed with them. Josh Myers, Brandon Stevens re-signed. Andre Sisco, Isaiah Oliver. The Ravens today just signed Cooper Rush to be the backup to Lamar Jackson. They signed DeAndre Hopkins from the Chiefs. Patrick Ricard re-signed. Ben Cleveland re-signed. Ronnie Stanley re-signed. The Bengals signed Samaje Perine to a deal. Mike Gesicki re-upped for a new deal. Supposedly, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are going to get signed to extended contracts, but Bengals didn't really sign a whole lot of new players, focusing more on the people that were on their team already. They re-signed Tanner Hudson, Cody Ford, Joseph Asai, B.J. Hill, Marco Wilson re-signed with them. The Browns traded for Kenny Pickett from the Eagles, and the Eagles in exchange got Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a 2025 fifth-round pick. So Kenny Pickett will compete with whoever the Browns get as their quarterback because Deshaun Watson is going to be nowhere to be found. Cornelius Lucas signed with them. Myles Garrett got a 4-year extension, even though he basically said he was done with the Browns, and then the Browns said, "Okay, well, let's change your mind," and You go 4-year deal, $123 million. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka signed with the Browns. Devin Bush re-signed with them. Malik Collins signed with them. The Steelers, they re-signed Mason Rudolph, and would you believe that was the best? That was the best overall signing that they did so far this is in this free agency. I mean, seriously, that was the best signing that they had done. And because look at some of the other names they got here. They signed Kenneth Gainwell from the Eagles. They traded for DK Metcalf, which they needed the wide receiver, but the fact that they signed him for a 5-year, $150 million extension as soon as he got there, it's just like, sweet Jesus, what are you doing? Donald Parham signed with them, Malik Harrison, Brandon Eccles, Darius Slay, which would be good if you were getting them while they were still young, but Darius Slay has been in the league for 13 years now. And, he just won a Super Bowl with the Eagles, but what do you really expect to gain from them, gain from this team, gain from a Darius Slay that's been in the league now for 10-plus years? But, of course, everyone is waiting to see who's going to be the main quarterback for the Steelers. Will it be Russell Wilson? One would hope that, I would certainly hope that that's the case, because, I mean that's the way you should go with it, in my opinion. Or it could be Aaron Rodgers, which I don't want to see happen, because if the Steelers would lose a lot of their credibility, with me in particular, if Aaron Rodgers eventually signs up here, because you're gonna sign a guy that's 43 years old, a guy that spent the last year making the New York Jets his own production, and it failed miserably. I would like to believe that the Steelers, an organization that knows how to contain distractions and how to contain the noise outside. Like, if you really think that Aaron Rodgers coming in there is not going to be any different with him there, you are out of your goddamn mind. And the news right now is that it's either Aaron Rodgers for the Giants, the Steelers, or the Vikings. And I'm hoping for the Vikings so we can fulfill the prophecy. The prophecy needs to be complete with Aaron Rodgers. Signed with Minnesota, Aaron Rodgers, for the love of God. And the Steelers, you just got to pick somebody, man. Like, I don't care who you get. Mason Rudolph can be the starting quarterback for all I care. And hell, who knows? Hell, you can get a quarterback in the first round of this draft coming up. If you really can't wait for next year it's like, here's my thinking. Here's what I think they should do. If I'm the Steelers, I re-sign Russell Wilson and I sign Mason Rudolph, which they already signed Mason Rudolph. Go with the season as it is. If you tank the season, so be it. Because guess what? The draft is going to be in Pittsburgh next year. Ooh, excuse me. The draft's going to be in Pittsburgh next year, and there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks coming out of that draft class, specifically Arch Manning. Now, wouldn't it be something if the Steelers in Pittsburgh introduces their new quarterback in the draft with one of the high picks? Doesn't even have to be the first overall pick. I really don't want them to sign Aaron Rodgers. Signing Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers would be it for me. Like, it's just like, okay, you know what? You guys have fun, because I'm not watching this train wreck anymore. Which I'm struggling to watch the train wreck as it is now, because once again, everyone got excited when they signed DK Metcalf, but it's just kind of like for that much money, man, it's just, I don't know. But I'm going to keep it short because I tend to rant a lot about the Steelers. But let's go ahead and get to the other teams then in the AFC. Let's go to the Texans. The Texans signed Braxton Berrios. They acquired Christian Kirk in a trade with the Jaguars. They signed Justin Watson from the Chiefs. They picked up Ed Ingram in the trade. They signed Lincoln Tomlinson, Derek Barnett and Darrell Taylor, Mario Edwards, Sheldon Rankings. C.J. Gardner-Johnson was traded from the Eagles to the Texans in exchange for Kenyon Green. The Colts signed Daniel Jones to a one-year deal, and apparently he's going to compete with Anthony Richardson for the starting quarterback position. Which, good job, Indianapolis. You've really set the future by getting Anthony Richardson, and look at what he's done since then. Khalil Herbert signed with them as a running back. Ashton Doolin, Corey Ballantyne, Travarius Ward, Danny Pinter, Cameron Bynum. The Jaguars signed Nick Mullins to a deal to be Trevor Lawrence's backup. De'Ami Brown signed with the Jaguars. Hunter Long, Johnny Munt, Robert Hainsey, Patrick McCarry, Jordan Lewis, Eric Murray. The Tennessee Titans, who have the number 1 pick, have signed Brandon Allen to a 1-year contract. Van Jefferson, formerly the Steelers, and Dan Moore, formerly the Steelers, signing with the Titans. Dan Moore got a nice $82 million deal with $50 million guaranteed. Blake Hance, Kevin Zeitler, Corey Levine, Draymond Jones, Sebastian Joseph Day, Cody Barton, Xavier Woods, Morgan Cox, Johnny Hecker. And in the AFC West, the Denver Broncos, Jarrett Stidham will be the backup quarterback to Bo Nix. He's going to be signing a 2-year deal. Trent Sherfield signed with the Broncos. Evan Ingram, formerly of the Jaguars, is now in Denver. Matt Pert, DJ Jones, Dre Greenlaw, Justin Strand, Talonia Haflanga from the San Francisco 49ers signed with them. Mitchell Framboni. The Chiefs signed Gardner Minshew to a 1-year deal. Bailey Zappi re-signed. So did Kareem Hunt. Elijah Mitchell joined. Marquise Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster signed the deals. Jalen Moore, Trey Smith, Jerry Tillery, Nick Bolton, Christian Fulton, Matt Ariza, and James Winchester. The Raiders acquired Geno Smith in a trade with the Seattle Seahawks, and Geno Smith will be the starter, it looks like. Raheem Mostert signed with them. Alex Kappa, they've re-signed Max Crosby. Malcolm Kuntz re-signed. Adam Butler. Landon Roberts signed from the Steelers. Eric Stokes, Jeremy Chin, Isaiah Polomao. And then you have the Chargers, who re-signed Taylor Heineke. This one here really disappointed me, and I couldn't believe the Steelers let him go. Najee Harris signed a 1-year deal with them, and this is why we can never have nice things in the world. But Jalen Reagor signed with the Chargers. Mike Williams, who was with the Steelers for a little bit, is now back over with the Chargers. Bradley Bozeman, former Steeler. Mekhi Becton signed with the Chargers. Deshaun Hand, Khalil Mack signed to a new deal. Naquan Jones, Tier Tart, Troy Dye, Denzel Perryman, Dante Jackson, formerly of the Steelers too, Elijah Molden, Benjamin St. Just, and J.K. Scott. So that's the AFC. And now over to the NFC, and starting off with the Dallas Cowboys. And, all in. We're all in. And, last year they didn't really go all in, but this year they at least put an effort into it. I'll give them that. They picked up Miles Sanders. They picked up Javonte Williams. Paris Campbell signed a 1-year deal. Robert Jones. Dante Fowler Jr., Peyton Turner. Oziah Odiguzua. We signed on an $80 million deal. Solomon Thomas. Kenneth Murray was picked up in a trade with the Titans. Khalil Elam was picked up in the trade with the Buffalo Bills. C.J. Goodwin, Marquise Bell, Brian Enger, Kevontae Turpin. So they are actually doing something with the Dallas Cowboys. So you got to give them that, at least this year. But Tommy DeVito, the New York Giants, re-signed to a 1-year deal. Darius Slayton re-signed to a 3-year deal. Emir Smith-Marset re-signed with the Giants. Chris Manhurst, Stone Forsythe, James Hudson, Chauncey Goldston, Jeremiah Ledbetter, Roy Robert Harrison, Chris Board, Paulson Adebo from the Saints signed a deal with them. Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, Javon Holland signed 3-year deals. Jamie Gillian is signed with them, and Casey Crutter signed with them. The Philadelphia Eagles, as I mentioned, picked up Dorian Thompson-Robinson in the trade with Kenny Pickett from the Browns. Saquon Barkley signed a 2-year extension with his team, and he's going to earn $41 million in new money with the deal that he had. A.J. Dillon signed to be the backup running back. Harrison Bryant, Kylan Granson, Josh Uche signed a deal. Zach Bond re-signed. Adoree Jackson, Charlie Huglet, Avery Williams. The Washington Capitals, they re-signed Marcus Mariota. Jeremy Nichols also re-signed. So did KJ Osborne. Of course, they picked up Deebo Samuel in a trade with the Niners a couple days before the free agency started. John Bates, Zach Ertz, Trent Scott, Laramie Tunsil was picked up from the Texans. Michael Dieter, Cleveland Farrell, Jacob Martin, Dietrich Wise, Eddie Goldman, Sheldon Day, Javon Kinlaw, Bobby Wagner, Noah Igbenani, Jonathan Jones, Will Harris, Zane Gonzalez, and Tris Way. With the Chicago Bears, Durham Smythe signs to a 1-year deal. Jonah Jackson was picked up in a trade with the Rams. Joe Thuney was picked up in a trade with the Chiefs. Drew Dahlman, so they're getting some help for Caleb Williams. Dayo Odeyingbo signed a 3-year deal. Grady Jarrett, Amin Benigma, these names here. Scott Daly, that's the Bears. Detroit signed Kyle Allen. They re-signed Tim Patrick, picked up Kenny Yeboah, Marcus Davenport, Roy Lopez, Levi Onwuzurike. Derek Barnes signed a deal. Grant Stewart, DJ Reed. The Packers picked up a new 4-year, $77 million deal on Aaron Banks. Isaiah McDuffie re-signed. Nate Hobbs signed with the team. Brandon McManus re-signed a contract. Aaron Jones. That's only four decisions by Green Bay so far. Minnesota, Aaron Jones re-signed on a 2-year, $20 million deal. They just picked up Jordan Mason in a trade with the Niners. Justin School, Will Fry signed a deal. Ryan Kelly, Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave, Eric Wilson, Byron Murphy, Isaiah Rodgers, Tavir Thomas, Theo Jackson, Harrison Smith, Ryan Wright. And, of course, they're still waiting to see what Aaron Rodgers says. It's either going to be him or J.J. McCarthy will start for the Vikings this year. After he missed the first year, of course, with that injury. Atlanta have re-signed. They re-signed Kirk. They said they are keeping Kirk Cousins, and it looks like they're going to go with Michael Penix Jr. as the starter going forward, it looks like. But Kadero Hodge, Jake Matthews, Storm Norton, Leonard Floyd, Morgan Fox, Divine Diablo, Mike Hughes, Liam McCullough. For the Panthers, Andy Dalton re-signed as the backup to Bryce Young. Rico Dowdle signed a contract. Tommy Tremble, Brady Christensen, Austin Corbett, Patrick Jones II, Tershawn Wharton, Bobby Brown III, Christian Roosboom. J.C. Horn signed his 4-year extension. Mike Jackson, Trevon Morig, and Sam Martin. The Saints, Dante Pettis has re-signed a deal. So did Juwan Johnson. Jack Stahl joined. Devon Gachar picked up in a trade with the Patriots. Cam Jordan returning for a 15th season. Chase Young re-signs with the Saints. Isaac Yiadom signs a 3-year deal. Justin Reed signs a 3-year deal with them. Tampa Bay, Kyle Trask re-signs a contract. Of course, Chris Godwin re-signed his contract, 3 years, $66 million. Sterling Shepard has a 1-year deal. Ben Bredson, Anthony Nelson, Hassan Reddick, Greg Gaines, Levante David, Anthony Walker Jr., Kendall Vidor, and Riley Dixon. And then the NFC West, Jacoby Brissett will back up Kyler Murray. Simi Fioco signed. Zay Jones re-signed his contract. Kelvin Beachum also re-signed. Evan Brown, Baron Browning, LJ Collier, Josh Sweat, Dalvin Tomlinson, Akeem Davis-Gaither, Michael Walker, and Aaron Brewer. The Rams, Jimmy Garoppolo re-signs a contract to be the backup to Matthew Stafford, who will be back as well. Devontae Adams signed a 2-year contract with the Rams. Tutu Atwell's back. Aloric Jackson also re-signed a contract. Coleman Shelton, Laurel Murchison, Poona Ford. The San Francisco 49ers signed a 2-year, $7 million deal with Mac Jones. Kyle Juszczyk re-signed for a 2-year deal. Patrick Taylor, Demarcus Robinson, Luke Farrell, Ben Barch, Luke Gifford, Trey Brown, Richie Grant, Jason Pinnock, and John Weeks. And finally, Seattle. Sam Darnold signing the 3-year, $100 million deal, which, I mean, who the fuck saw that coming? I mean, like, that's probably the most laughable contract I saw so far, because just like Seattle paid him $100 million for that 1 year with Minnesota, which he was not the reason why Minnesota won 14 games. Minnesota has has 2 of the best wide receivers in the game right now, and any quarterback could go in there and do what he did. But I digress. They did sign Cooper Kupp to a 3-year, $45 million deal. They picked up Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Josh Jones signed up. DeMarcus Lawrence signed a 3-year deal. Jerron Jones and Ernest Jones all signed deals. So that is where we're at right now as of March 16th, 2025 at 5:20 p.m. And I'm just checking my Twitter here just to see if anything new has popped up, because you never know. Something could pop up out of nowhere. I see the Jets signed Derek Nottie from the Chiefs. That's about it. Let's see. Anything else? No, it does not look like it. So right now we are good, but you never know. You never know, because the last time I was on here and as soon as I finished recording, that's when the first news broke about DK Metcalf came out. So anyway, that's the free agency frenzy that's going on right now. So let's go ahead and talk about. I want to talk about a certain movie that came out on Netflix this week that's been highly, let's just say, highly criticized for a number of different reasons. But let's talk about The Electric State. Why not? You know, every once in a while, there's a movie that comes along where everyone just comes together and says, "Holy Mother of God, what the hell were you thinking doing all this?" Not just with the movie itself, but the fact that you spent all this money on this one single project that you thought was going to be the next big thing. And good old Netflix is proving that, hey, Apple TV Plus, we can put out movies with these overblown budgets and basically outdo your stupidity with our own stupidity, because The Electric State came out this week on Netflix, and if you don't know the story of the Electric State, it's based off the graphic novel of the same name by Simon Stålenhag and takes place in a reimagined version of 1997, where humans are isolated in their VR elements after a continuing battle against a strange breed of monstrous drones in the wake of a technological meltdown. There's a teenage girl named Michelle, played by Millie Bobby Brown, and a robot traveling to the west coast of the U.S. in search of the girl's missing brother. So again, a concept that maybe, just maybe, could have some opportunities there. There could be a lot of things that could help the film overall make it stand out. But yeah, this is a film that it is... if you've heard the story about this movie, if you didn't hear about it though, you've probably heard the story. Is what I'm trying to say is that you probably heard of the story about this movie. But if you haven't, let me just give you kind of an indication of what the hell is everyone's so peeved off about. First and foremost, this is a new film from the Russo brothers. The Russo brothers who, they've worked with big budgets before with the Avengers movies, Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, and they made it work. But this is a $320 million movie produced by Netflix, based off of a comic book, a graphic novel that most people probably have never even heard of. The main focus of the star power here is Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown, 11 from Stranger Things, which, of the two, Chris Pratt would be the easiest draw of the bunch, but you also have a cast that includes Ke-Huy Quan, Stanley Tucci, Giancarlo Esposito, Jason Alexander, Woody Harrelson does voice work here, Anthony Mackie, Brian Cox, Jenny Slate, Alan Tudyk, Hank Azaria, Coleman Domingo, Rob Gronkowski, Billy Gardell. So there is name recognition all across the board here. But, so, I'm watching so I'm hearing all this word of mouth coming out of the movie, and it's pretty bad. Like, it's really, really bad stuff. Like, I've looked at the reviews beforehand, just like, wow. They really thought that this was going to be this was going to be the next Avengers, and it certainly is nowhere near the next Avengers. It's anything but the next Avengers, because yeah, this thing is, ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you this. This weekend I had the opportunity to see the best movie I think of the year so far, the Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. I can only say now that it's an honor to see the best movie of the year one day, and then to see the worst movie of the year this day. And that is, of course, the fact that the bottom line is what I'm trying to say here, because I'm getting my words mixed up here. The Electric State is absolutely awful. This movie is unbelievably bad. Like, it's really bad. Really, really bad. Even if you've never read the graphic novels, even if you've never seen any of these people involved in this movie, a lot of the people that made this movie are the same people that worked on the Avengers. It's got the same writers, it's got the same directors, even the same composer, Alan Silvestri. But, my God, this whole movie is a complete disaster of a film. Like, this film is unbelievably bad. This movie is nothing but a lackluster, failed attempt to try to create a franchise off of something, and just completely failing on every single level. This is a movie that is unbelievably bad. From the performances, from people that you can usually rely on, because they usually will give it their all. Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt. I mean, a cast that includes a lot of recognizable talents, but they're just not working here. They're just trying way too hard, and they were just the wrong people to cast in these roles. You got this overabundance of CG, like when one of the main characters is Mr. friggin' Peanut, the mascot of Planters, and it's basically there so Planters can have a marketing campaign with that. Like, this goes back to what I was saying earlier about how Hollywood studios are not bothering to market the movies that are heading to theaters, but they'll more than gladly take the time to promote their product on this piece of garbage right here. And it'd be fine if the movie was actually very interesting to look at, or was actually kind of fun, but No, it's just not in this movie, and it's just absolutely, it's horrendous. It's a horrible looking film. It's a film that looks so unbelievably terrible, and I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe how awful this movie was, from the way it looked, from the way the actors were acting, from the way the character designs were, from the action sequences looking bland as all hell. These guys have made good action movies since then. I mean, they've made some movies that have actually not been that bad. They've actually made some decent stuff. Extraction was one of the films they wrote, which was actually not that bad of a movie overall. These guys also produced stuff like Everything Everywhere All at Once, 21 Bridges. I even didn't mind Sherry or The Gray Man. I thought those were actually kind of decent films. But this movie is just, it's baffling to me. It's baffling on all sorts of levels. And it's just not a good movie, man. It's just not a good film whatsoever. This movie is awe-inspiring on how terrible it is. Right down to the terrible ending of the movie. This is literally the last scene of the movie, and I just want you to take a listen to this, and just listen to how forced and how badly put together this whole thing is. I'm going to play the clip right here, and we'll see how this goes with this thing. So let's take a look. And listen.
Real life, it's contact. It's you and me. We're flesh and bone, yeah, but we're also electricity. And when we hug and laugh and hold hands and argue, my particles stay with you and yours stay with me. But that can't happen if you close yourself off. Look around. There's someone near you right now. They're real and alive. And they need you as much as you need them. And if there isn't, if you don't have anyone, then come find us. Because we're starting over. We're going to do it right this time.
They just started up again. But wow, talk about the most hypocritical resolution to your story ever. First of all, what is the music, the way that she's acting? That's not her. That's not somebody acting in an action movie. That's somebody who's acting in is in one of those commercials that air during the Super Bowl, talking about, you know, if they were doing like a promotion for He Gets Us, or one of those little companies that's trying to be inspirational, or that type of stuff. Like this isn't something that should be at the end of an action-packed blockbuster that's worth $320 fucking million. But on top of that, the scenes they throw in there in this montage just seem so fake and so badly put together. And you have all these characters who are with the Millie Bobby Brown, just like nodding their heads and going like, "Yeah, we get what you're saying. You're right on all this." And yeah, one problem with this, the message of the movie would have landed much better. I think somebody on Twitter put a very good point on this. Your hypocritical final note would have landed better in a packed theater than on iPhones. And this thing was. This thing was basically just like this. It's funny how they say, like, it also says like this is. Let me just reread the tweet here. Maybe your hypocritical final note would have landed better in a packed theater than on the iPhones. The shit was algorithmically designed to be watched on. But what do I know? Which, that's a good point in particular. Like, you want this. The whole point of the message is that we can't. The whole point of the message of the movie was basically that we need to connect with one each other in real life. We don't need electricity. We don't need technology or AI to move ahead in the future. Yeah, that message would probably play pretty well if your film literally did not use AI. Like, that was literally a line that was literally AI written. Like, you cannot convince me that was not written by somebody who needed a inspirational message. So they say, "Fuck it, we're just going to use AI to write this. We're going to use ChatGPT." And also, shocker, this movie uses a lot of AI, and this is one of those things where the director Joe Russo basically had to come out and just say that they're defending the uses of AI in this movie. I've got the article here. His quote was, and I quote, "The use of AI was something any 10-year-old could do after watching a TikTok video." Yeah. So essentially they're saying is that we made a $320 million big budgeted project on the same level as somebody who made a TikTok video with no money whatsoever. My TikTok videos look better than anything in this piece of garbage, but I'll keep going. The use of AI was something any 10-year-old could do after watching a TikTok video. There's a lot of finger-pointing and hyperbole because people are afraid. They don't understand, but ultimately you see AI used more significantly. Also, AI is in its generative state now, where it has, as we call them, hallucinations. You can't do mission-critical work without something that hallucinates. That is a reason self-driving cars have been taken over, or why AI surgery is not taking place worldwide. But in its generative state, AI is best suited towards creativity. I just want people to keep in mind that 2 years ago, the writers and actors went on strike. For what reason? Because of AI. It's amazing how far we've come in the 2 years since then, and we're basically saying that we went on strike for absolutely nothing. We didn't go to work for 6 months, saying that we're defending our filmmakers and who don't want to use ChatGPT or AI, to essentially have it be like, no, we're going to use AI and ChatGPT whether you fucking like it or not. I mean, that's basically what we've come to in this world. I mean, this movie is so offensively bad in so many levels. Like the fact that it's not only the fact that the budget is... before I even get to my final thoughts on this, let's talk about the budget for this. $320 million went into this movie. Where did the money go? Because the effects in this movie were nowhere near as good as something like the effects in If. If has a very similar concept to it. A bunch of two main stars with a bunch of characters made from CG. And that cost $110 million to make. So where did $320 million go? Where did all that money go? You know where that money went to? Absolutely nothing. That money went to all the elaborate limousines. They probably had all these fancy lunches. They probably went to the strip club after they made this film and just said, hey, let's go nuts. We've got $320 million. And, because the money isn't showing up on the screen at all. And it's just such a mess of a film. It's not only a mess of a film because it's just such a bad movie. It's offensively bad because this movie is the equivalent of the of the Me Too movement, kind of, where, the intent of the Me Too movement was supposed to be one thing, and then it did what it was supposed to do early on, but then some jackass in Hollywood said, this is great and all, but how can we take this and let's market the hell out of it? Because I talked about this a couple weeks ago, and it really comes back to the whole thing here, because it's just like, this is literally the same thing, because instead of the Me Too movement, it's AI. The whole reason we had these strikes a couple years ago was so that people could get paid. We didn't want to use AI is for these actors and these writers who are going to get involved in it, and the studios weren't going to pay for them, and so essentially we've gone back. That whole time we were on strike proved to be absolutely nothing. We didn't do it. There was no point of it whatsoever, and I really do think you got to hold the Russo brothers to the fire on this one here. I mean, this is a movie like this is the type of film that could kill any chance of anybody taking them seriously anymore. This is like the equivalent to Colin Trevorrow with what he did with The Book of Henry, that movie that he did after Jurassic World, and he was going to do the next Star Wars movie, but then they saw The Book of Henry and were just like, oh shit, no, you fucking aren't. And of course, that is this is something that could end up really hurting the Avengers movies going forward. I would not be shocked at all if somebody had an idea in the back of their head, do we really want these guys at the forefront of the Avengers once again? I mean, I would like to think that, but this film is just so bland, it's so boring, it's so unforgettably awful, and it's a complete insult on the message that it was trying to get across beforehand. That fabricated BS speech at the end about how, we need to come together and we need to be real with people, it's clearly something that was clearly written by ChatGPT or AI, and something that these are the same arguments people use for Captain America: Brave New World. This is the movie you should be using on, because my God, this film is absolutely horrible. It is absolutely horrible. The effects are terrible. The casting was just bad on so many levels. As much as I like these two actors, and as much as I like everybody on here, they were the wrong people to cast in this film. And it's something that we haven't seen done in a while. It's a film where it just feels like the Russo brothers took a concept that was so well put together in a graphic novel and just said, let's take all the good stuff out of it and just make make a routine garbage movie. And that's exactly what they did. This is a horrible film. This is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. This is a candidate easily for the worst movie of the year so far. The Electric State is a terrible, terrible movie, and one you should easily avoid. Netflix, I'm ashamed. I'm disappointed in you. You spent $320 million on this pile of fucking shit. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. And, I don't know, just ended on a Billy Madison quote there. So anyway, let's go ahead and, let's go back to some fun stuff. How about that? Now let's get back to some fun stuff. How about some more cursed 80s commercials, or poorly aged commercials? Microsoft Sam has once again put out another assortment of various commercials, stuff that I have yet to see. This is my first time looking at this video, so he has a new video out called Cursed 80s Commercials, and there's about 12 minutes worth of ads here. For those of you who are not familiar with the previous videos that I've done looking at this, what he does is take poorly aged commercials from various decades, and stuff that includes such fun little features as Bill Cosby, Donald Trump, the Twin Towers, events in history that have really affected the world, that type of stuff. A lot of commercials like this that were made before the events happened, or is before the craziness went off. And but we have a new set of commercials here, 12 minutes worth here, and Cursed 80s Commercials is the name of the video, so I've already wasted your time here, so let's just go ahead and get right to it and see how cursed some of these commercials can really be.
Attention Pepsi drinkers.
And of course we're starting with Mr. Cosby.
Taste of Coca-Cola, the best Coca-Cola ever. That's all I'm going to say. In fact, that's all I have to say. No more words. This stuff is great. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Whew.
This is literally a 30-second commercial of Cosby just drinking Coke. Now, I'm guessing that maybe this was back around the time of New Coke. But I love one of the comments on here saying, knowing what we know now, Bill Cosby hands you a drink and says, no more words. So yeah, that's take that for what you will. But yeah, what a weird commercial that is. I'm guessing this took place after the New Coke fiasco, but I could be wrong on that. But either way, it's a weird commercial. One 900-9099 cry, and they got this woman crying about something.
What makes people all over America break down and cry like this? Call 1-900-9099-CRY and hear it for yourself. $2 for the first minute, 45 cents each additional minute.
Oh, this is one of those ads. Like, there used to be a lot of these commercials back in the day where you'd have these numbers that, they would tell you different stories. Like, it'd be like kid stories, or Santa Claus and all that. And they do that thing at the end where it's just like, call the number on your screen. $2 for the first minute, it's 99 cents in each additional minute. So they could literally keep you on the line for 20 minutes and you'd be paying over $20 in general. But this one is just like, so I guess they tell you very sad stories, and you like, but then again, this really should not be surprising. I mean, The Simpsons did a parody of this with Lisa calling the Corey hotline, and Corey would always talk in a slow thing, or just do things to just pad out the time. Just like, here's what's going on in the newspaper today, and Lisa would just be like all smitten, just like, oh, Corey, like that type of stuff. But yeah, this seems like a weird number to call.
If you're under 18, ask your parents before you call. 1-900-9099-CRY.
Like, what are these? What kind of stories are they telling these people? Or are they just kind of? What are they just like? They're just like I can imagine if I was on the other end of those phone calls, I'd just be saying the most depressing things ever. It's just like, your mother's dead, your dad's dead, your family's dead, your dog's dead, your cat's dead. September 11th, the electric state. I mean, just talking about the saddest things possible. It's just like, which is probably what they were doing to these people back then. But yeah, what a weird commercial that was.
Someone is smoking over there.
Something we cats would never do.
Filling their
Andrew Lloyd
lungs
Webber's
with
cats.
thick, dark hair.
What a disgusting thing to do.
Cats have 9 lives with 8 to spare. Humans have 1.
With none to barter.
Why do they smoke?
Why don't they care?
Humans are smart, but cats are smarter. Listen to cats, you men and women. Take care of your lungs. They're only human.
The American Lung Association, the Christmas seal people.
Still more convincing than the 2019 Cats movie. At least she didn't have butthole. He didn't have a butthole cutter, Judi Dench, doing these weird, bizarre moves in front of Ian McKellen. That's like, I'm getting bad memories of that one. Moving on to the next one.
Brenda Vaccaro for Playtex tampons. I think it's important to know the facts about tampons.
Johnny Bravo's
to use
mother,
them
Mama
intelligently
Bravo.
And to know what you're doing. Let me tell you why I like Playtex best. Only Playtex tampons have a double-layered design. I like that. And Playtex knows we're not all the same or want the same kind of tampons, so you can choose the one that's right for you. I like that, too. And I like knowing you just can't buy a better tampon protection than Playtex tampons or Playtex deodorant tampons. And that's the truth. Playtex.
What's with the breathing every time she says something? It's like she's speaking at a fast pace, and then she's just like just like, slow down, Mama Bravo, Jesus, like, and what an odd ad that is. Just like again, a very good comment down here. Appropriate that a woman with short breath and sounds like she's been smoking for 20 years follows a smoking PSA. Hey, leave Mama Bravo alone, man. Come on.
A name I can count on, and so can you.
Ho, ho, ho!
Chuck E. Cheese!
Chuck E. Cheese here with Christmas presents.
Like we got like the early preview of this is the early equivalent of a YouTube poop right here.
Count on, and so can you.
Ho, ho, ho! Ho, ho! Chuck E. Cheese here with Christmas presents. Now till Christmas at Chuck E. Cheese's, everybody ordering a large pizza who does this gets 20 game tokens free. Add a salad to that pizza and you get my new calendar with over $100 worth of coupons. 20 free tokens, just like this. This big cheese is all hot.
What is going on with this commercial? I have no idea if that was a commercial that was intended to be sweeted like that or something. But wow, that feels really, really weird. Because it started off with him going like ho ho ho, and then reversing it like it's going oh oh oh, and like at the end of the video, it's just like why are they just repeating the same things over and over and over again? But like it's weird that it's also weird because this is like the whole thing is just like get 20 free tokens when you do this thing with your nose. Like you have to touch the tip of your nose who's this? Is it the same towards the kids of Samantha from Bewitched? Just like you got to go like beep, 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 or something like that. But I don't know. But this is again, the commercial isn't very weird except for the beginning and the end here.
Tokens, just like this. This big cheese is all hot.
Of course I killed them. I just aimed, shot, and killed those little creeps myself.
New faster killing black.
Very poor choice of words there, lady. It's a commercial for Black Flag Anton Roach Killer, and it literally starts off with Confessions of a Killer.
Hot.
Of course I killed them. I just aimed, shot, and killed those little creeps myself.
And then I took care of the bugs. Just don't go upstairs and check my main bedroom because there's no dead body with my lover in there. But
New faster killing Black Flag Anton Roach Killer kills with an exterminator-proven ingredient.
Their kind deserve to die.
Black Flag.
Jesus, lady. It's like this is the type of person Fox News would have on in a heartbeat. They'd be just like, those people they deserve to die. Like, just my God. Oh, this classic. I don't think I can play the whole thing because it's a copyrighted song. But if you know this commercial from the Nostalgia Critics commercial special, you know that this dog is about to get a little visitor on the side there from a specific weapon.
Please give us £1, or we'll have to pull the trigger.
Like, Jesus Christ. When that gun comes in, the dog's just looking at it going like, hey, man, what the heck? Hey, man, hey, I do nothing wrong. Look, I'm sorry I pissed all over your flowers. Just don't kill me, please. Like, what person at the RSPCA thought that was a good idea to put that in there? And it's just like, wow, like this, that's messed up. That's the most messed up one of the entire fucking thing. Like that's a commercial that really is just like talk about a bad way to get people to adopt animals. It's just like, no, adopt these animals or we're gonna fucking shoot them. Like, it's an oldie but a terrible oldie.
No.
Ugh.
Jordache, basics.
What happened to him?
He's been hurt.
He's probably
No, we have to get help. I don't think we should move him.
Leave him down.
What the hell is going on
Come
here?
here, Jack. Hurry. Mike, wake up. Wake it up. Do something.
What do? He's an old man.
Somebody. Are we too late? Is he gonna be all right?
It's a commercial for jeans. What the hell is happening? Like it literally goes from the pet commercial to this weird commercial about Jordache is a jean company, isn't it? Let me see. Yeah, it's a weird commercial where, like, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, and it's just like, what was the point of all this? Like, because, like, it's a commercial that's supposed to be advertising jeans, but it really does feel like a commercial where this guy is basically, this old man is dying, and it's just like I don't know what's going on here. This is like, I have no idea who at Jordache looked at this commercial and said, no, this will be great to show to people, this old guy who's living life and all that type of stuff. Like, it would probably work if you didn't have the commercial music being so dark and all that. Like whose decision was it to make a commercial like this? Like, listen to this again.
Jordache, basics.
What happened to him?
He's been hurt.
He's probably
Yeah, it's this old guy sitting with these teen kids, and there's a scene right here where they're playing with birds, and then they're getting underneath the merry-go-round because it's raining.
Wake it up. Do something.
And now he's on a skateboard with all of them, and the music is just this dark, gritty, this dark music, like this guy's dead or something. It's just like, what the hell was
old man.
Somebody. Are we too late? Is he gonna be all right?
I don't know. Is he going to be all right? Because you're making it seem like, no, he's not going to be all right. In fact, he's pretty fucking dead at this point because you wouldn't leave him alone. Like, and I love the tagline here, Jordache Basics, because life is not. Like, what the hell does that even mean? Like, wow, what a terrible commercial that was. And they greenlit this. They said, no, this is very good. We should keep this. We're going to keep this in there. And nobody questioned it. Nobody questioned it whatsoever. So we've got all these different people coming in, I guess, to hell because the Grim Reaper just showed up.
At first, only gays and IV drug users were being killed by AIDS.
Okay, it's that kind of commercial.
But now we know every one of us could be devastated by it.
Wow, that's, give him points for creativity. You basically had the Grim Reaper, bowling, and the pins were all these people that apparently AIDS can kill, because it's not, as they said in the beginning, it's not just gays or people with who are HIV positive who can get AIDS. Everybody can get AIDS. Like, it's like the song from Team America World Police, you know, everybody gets AIDS and shit.
The fact is, over 50,000 men, women, and children now carry the AIDS virus. That in 3 years, nearly 2,000 of us will be dead. That if not stopped, it could...
Jesus Christ! They just Okay, so what happened was they re-racked the whole thing, and the Grim Reaper was roll the ball, and he hit every one of the people except for this lady holding on to a baby. And of course he's going to get a spare. But just if you're watching this with me, just watch what happens as soon as the ball hits the lady, and watch how fast the baby just flies out of her hands.
But if not stopped,
like the baby's flipping in the air. If you were trying to scare people, congratulations, you failed at that, because you were pretty intimidating until that fucking prop baby came into play, and my God, that's
it could kill more Australians than
that's
World
horrible.
War II.
This is a horrible
But AIDS can
commercial.
be stopped, and you can help stop it. If you have sex, have
Stylistic
just
and
one
cool
safe
looking, I'll
partner.
give it that. I mean, they show all the other Grim Reapers bowling,
Always.
But yeah, man, like that commercial, to be honest, that commercial is pretty cool, and I like the way it ends with all the Grim Reapers just rolling up, just bowling, like they're bowling all the different people. But you lost all credibility as soon as that fucking baby went up in the air like that. Like, oh my God. If you have not seen this, watch this. It's at the 4-minute mark when this commercial starts, but it's hilarious. It's hilarious how just absolutely abysmal that was, because my God, that was terrible the way that looked. But anyway, continuing on here. We're not even halfway through this video yet. I've done like 15 minutes worth of recording for this, and we're still only about not even halfway there, so.
Now you can celebrate your birthday with pepperoni and Sylvester
Jesus. Like, this is pepperoni, and there's this big panda that comes out, and it looks creepy as all hell.
Stallion at the Pizza Planet. For $5.50
Pizza
per person,
Planet.
you'll get pizza, pop,
It's
game
Andy.
cookies, and an ice cream sundae. Plus a special birthday show with pepperoni and a visit with
Pepperoni.
Sylvester Stallion and a member of the Buffalo Stallions team. Everyone at your party will receive a ticket good at any Buffalo Stallions home game too. 10 or more in your party. And the birthday person will receive an autographed soccer ball. So have your best birthday ever at the Pizza Planet.
Is have your best birthday ever at this horrible-looking Chuck E. Cheese knockoff that literally looks like it was the predecessor for Five Nights at Freddy's. In fact, I'm actually kind of surprised nobody made a comment below about that. I mean, they make comments about Scott Cawthon from Five Nights at Freddy's at the 7-minute mark, but we'll get to that in just a second. But
Now, back to our program.
what the Okay, it literally goes to this weird ad with this, it looks like a worm with a lady's head on it, and it's in black and white. It looks absolutely creepy as all hell. This is terrifying. It would just smiled at me. It's a Japanese commercial too. What the hell was that? My God, that was freaky as all hell. Like that's the scariest. That's literally the scariest one as I saw so far. That commercial right there. I don't know what the hell that product was, but Jesus Christ, that image will haunt me tonight. That's nightmare fuel right there. 5 minutes in. It's only gonna get worse apparently. So we have a baby, a weird-looking baby.
Would you give a cigarette to your unborn child?
Oh my God. It's okay. So they have this baby inside of a womb, and it somehow got its hands on a cigarette. Like, again, cool looking image, but I'm supposed to take that seriously.
Every time you smoke while you're pregnant. Pregnant mothers, please, don't smoke.
Call 453.
I mean, it's a cool looking image, I'll give it that, and certainly is not nightmare fuel like the last one we looked at, but it's more funny than scary, honestly. Like, how did the baby get a cigarette inside the womb? Is it like Stewie from Family Guy? He just had all this stuff inside of him that he had when he was conceived by Lois. But
The House of Tang, Enfield's unique Cantonese and Szechuan restaurant. Enjoy the atmosphere at the House of Tang while you sip an exotic cocktail. Tempt yourself with an appetizer, or savor lunch and dinner specialties from Tang's ample menu. The House of Tang also features a banquet room for holiday parties and gatherings. Experience the House of Tang today for the finest in Cantonese and Szechuan cuisine.
I didn't get that one. Like I didn't. That's a commercial for a, as you heard, a Cantonese restaurant. So I don't know. I don't get that. I don't get that last one. So let me go ahead and let me just go ahead and double check the research on that one real quick. Okay, so I looked on the main on YouTube to see the video in its own and look at the comments to see if I'm missing something, and even they don't know what the hell I'm supposed to be looking at here. I guess they think the music is too Cronenberg-esque is what I saw. So I don't know. I didn't get a sense of that, but I know this next commercial starts off with a dude with a gun.
Hi, folks. This is Don from Don's Guns. Have I got a deal for you? Normally, a membership here at Don's Guns is $100, unlimited shooting for 1 year. But if you'll come in now and join my range, either north or south, I'll give you an American-made gun worth $80 as part of the membership. Why? You know why. Because I don't want to make any money, folks. I just love to sell guns.
These deals are so good, they'll blow your brains out. I mean, that's basically what you're expecting to do, and it's not helping that he literally has the gun close to his head, like he's gonna do just that. Like, I mean, that's a commercial where it could be taken in so many different ways, and one bad slip up here, and basically it's lights out for him. Supposedly, I'm reading the comments here, and it says he forgot to mention included with every gun purchase are tickets to his televangelist show. So I don't know if he's a televangelist or something, but you know the story about 80s televangelists. They say that they're for the Lord and all that stuff, but they're really just there to get your money so they can buy private jets. But again, most television evangelists are like that nowadays, but I digress. Okay, I don't know if it's Microsoft Sam doing that, but what's with the weird edits going on here?
Because I don't want to make any money, folks. I just love to sell guns.
Yeah, these. I think these editings are coming in from Microsoft Sam himself, because the commercial just, like, it's him laughing and it just awkwardly stops and then just starts up again. Like, I don't know if it's him doing that or these are taken from Reddit or something like that, but yeah, these are getting really, really weird and awkward. Okay, I guess this is supposed to be a mother and her baby, except the baby has like a unicorn horn and a grass hat.
Kleenex tissue desu. Can you buy for?
It's an ad for Kleenex tissues. Again, I have no idea what the hell's going on.
10 cents these days? Video games, and lots of them at Dimes and Critters in the 5 Mile Shopping Center.
Another Chuck E. Cheese knockoff.
You a turn on your favorite video game. And while you're here, try our piping hot pizza. That melted cheese and tasty sauce. And by the way, the entertainment by the Critter Band is free. So come to Dimes and Critters in the 5 Mile Shopping Center for a great value and a great time.
What the hell? Got a Halloween store commercial.
And to make up for a startling transition, create your own costumes from Bart's selection of masks and accessories. And Bart has everything.
Yeah, this looks like nightmare fuel right here. All these different people in costumes. Like, this is freaky stuff.
Into a haunted mansion for the big night. Evil decorations to warn me.
Arts displays, 78th and North, and now a new second location at 197th and Blue Mound.
Blue Mound.
It wasn't gonna hurt me. A few lines, little cracks and base.
Up. Looks like we got one of those 80s PSA commercials.
Everything in moderation. So I lost my job. And my old lady and I were going to split anyway. And running out of money, that's not the worst thing. You can always get more. But they didn't understand me. I was having a good time. I was on top of the world. I was invincible. And then one day, I just
and then I turned into Ebenezer Scrooge. Like, it's a commercial where you got this guy who's got like half of his normal face, and then the other half is like this older face, like a two-face type of thing. But it literally looks like the old man makeup they use for Ebenezer Scrooge.
Cocaine kills. It strips life down to the bone. Get help.
Cocaine kills. Another one of these. Another one of those 1-900 commercials.
And they're not walking the night. They're in the phone lines, and they've got your number.
Want fares? Dial 1-900-490-JET.
Randomly selected callers get to talk to me live in the flesh. When you reach me, you'll wish you never called.
Only $2 a call.
Who are you? Like, why am I doing this? Like, what the hell's going on here? It's a commercial for 1-900-490-DET, and I guess it's because you call and you get a story from these zombies, a scary story or something like that, or something. I don't know. Like, I have no idea what the hell they're trying to sell you on with this one.
When it came to sex, Cindy was the life of the party. She went
Let me guess, this is a commercial for AIDS?
To another, until one day she met a partner who'd stay with her for the rest of her life. AIDS. Don't experiment with sex. If you do, use a condom, or being the life of the party could be the death of you. AIDS. What you don't know can hurt you.
I mean, this was the 80s.
Viper armed. Protected by Viper. Stand back.
The club. Dude, at this point, just get away. A snake is literally trying to kill you. Like, the car can't be that worth it that much.
Viper. No one dares come close.
For information in a brochure, call 1-800-677-9993.
How many robberies do you think this snake has eaten? It's a viper snake. I'm guessing maybe 50, because, like, the dude at some point had to realize this is probably not the smartest move on my part. Maybe I should just go and rethink my life. But it's just like, no, I gotta keep going, man. I gotta get that cocaine, dog. Another AIDS commercial. This one says, there is still no cure for AIDS, and it's on the increase.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's like a weird coffee commercial, that looks like. Both men and women can pass on the virus through sex. Got a random teddy bear on there, on the bed. You can't tell by looking who's infected. The more partners you have, the greater the risk. Using a condom could help save your life.
It's quite late. Will you stay?
Yeah, what another weird commercial. AIDS, you know the risk. The decision is yours. I mean, we clearly had no idea how to handle the AIDS virus back then, apparently. But anyway, let's keep going. A couple more here.
I don't believe it.
Fucking asshole just hit a car. Fuck you, bitch.
I don't believe it. Creeps. Creep kids! Driving in from the suburbs in their daddy's car to score, and then trying to beat me down on the price. Well, I don't cut my price for nobody! Especially for these rich creeps. I got good stuff. You want good stuff? You're gonna pay for it!
Just a drug dealer?
They'll be back.
Damn straight. They're trying to tell me they can take it or leave it. Did you see those little punks, man?
They're gonna be the first ones.
It's reality, man. Reality.
Big car. Yeah, you know what I'd like to do to them? I'd like to rub their faces.
You know, they're so stupid they deserve to be burned.
Yeah. Ain't good for nothing.
Well, good for something. Good for taking money out.
Hey, man. Got some good crack. Good stuff. What do you need?
This commercial feels like a commercial that was written back in the days. Like, you ever watch the old Dragnet series and how they wrote hippies as like these drug addicts, and they were like the stock drug addicts. It's just like reality, man, reality, like that type of thing. This was made in the 1980s, and those commercials were made those shows were made in the 60s. This feels like somebody had a script from the 60s Dragnet show and just put it into this commercial here, because no drug dealer talks like this in real life, as far as I know. And that's the last commercial, but yeah, definitely a wide assortment of weird stuff right there. I'll give him that. But anyway, I feel really unclean right now. Just thinking about these commercials, man. Again, just thinking about these commercials. So, yeah, I need to get on out of here. But before we do that, of course, let's go ahead and do the last bit of thing that we do here on the show, and that is the recommendations for the week. So, in terms of recommendations this week, there really isn't a whole lot for me to recommend this week in terms of new releases coming out on Blu-ray. But I kind of badmouthed Netflix earlier in the show, so let me give them some positivity, because they do put out one movie not too long ago that I finally got around to seeing. I was actually really looking forward to this because of the people involved in it. The Piano Lesson. I finally got a chance to take a look at that a couple weeks ago. So, if you don't know the story, this is based off of a book by August Wilson, one of his plays, following the lives of the Charles family in the Doker Charles household, and an heirloom, the family piano, which is decorated with designs carved by an enslaved ancestor. The play focuses on the arguments between a brother and sister who have different ideas of what to do with the piano. The brother boy, Willie, is a sharecropper who wants to sell the piano but to buy the land, Sutter's land, where his ancestors tore it as slaves. The sister, Bernice, remains empathetic about keeping the piano, which shows the carved faces of their great-grandfathers, wives and sons during the days of their enslavement. So what's notable about this movie is the fact that this is directed by one of Denzel Washington's sons, Malcolm Washington. And one of the stars of the movie is his other son, John David Washington, who's been in a lot of movies that I've liked of his. Samuel L. Jackson is also in here, too. Danielle Deadwyler is also in here. Ray Fisher from The Flash, from Batman v Superman. Corey Hawkins, Stephen James, Erykah Badu. So there's a lot of good names in the cast here. This is based off of, like I said, an August Wilson play. And I live near Pittsburgh, so it's kind of recommended. If you know August Wilson stuff in the past, you kind of have to be obligated to see his other things as well. I've seen Fences. Fences is a great movie that's directed by Washington. Of course, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom was the one that featured Chadwick Boseman in a role that should have gotten him the Oscar instead of Anthony Hopkins. But this is a really good movie. This is a very good film that came out last year. I never got a chance to watch it. I was going to go out and check it out at some point, but other things kept getting in the way, but I finally got a chance to watch it not too long ago, and it's a really good movie. It's a really engaging movie, and it really does show that the Washington family really is very talented, because, of course, Denzel Washington's the greatest actor of all time. John David Washington's a really good actor, and Malcolm Washington shows that he's got a future as a director as a whole, and he's got a chance to maybe show some things down the road that might turn him into a pretty big name going forward, but, yeah. I mean, they're a really good family, and they show that, hey, here's some of the positives to nepotism in Hollywood. You get a great actor with a really good acting son, and a son that can also direct as well. It's a really good movie. It's one I highly recommend checking out. The Piano Lesson. It streams on Netflix, so you can find it on there easily. It's one I highly recommend checking out. If you liked Fences, if you like Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, if you like the works of August Wilson, it's definitely one you want to check out. So with all that said, that's going to wrap this episode of the Reviewing Network Live up. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this adventure this weekend. It was a great show this week, and we'll be back next week with another episode. So with all that said, thank you so much for watching and listening. If you like what you saw and you want to see more videos like this, please go ahead and hit that like button, the subscribe button, the notification button, as well as the playlist with the last episode I did. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching and listening, and I'll see you guys next Sunday. Until then, we are out.